The marching armies of the past along our southern plains are sleeping now in quiet rest beneath the southern rains. The bugle call is now in vain to rouse them from their bed. To arms they'll never march again. They are sleeping with the dead. These lines, penned by an anonymous poet, capture a profound sense of finality and despair, but they also introduce us to the Southern view of the Civil War. Today, I'm sharing a bit of our Southern roots surrounding Confederate Memorial Day. Let's get started. To understand why this day exists, we have to look at the sheer scale of death during the American Civil War. The point specifically highlights two massive turning points. No more will Shiloh's plains be stained with blood our heroes shed, nor Chancellorsville resound again to our noble warriors' tread. At the Battle of Shiloh in Tennessee, over 23,000 Americans became casualties in just 2 days. At Chancellorsville, Virginia, another 30,000 fell. By the time the war ended in 1865, an estimated 620,000 to 750,000 soldiers were dead. In the South, the devastation was inescapable. Families were left without fathers, sons, or brothers, and thousands of Confederate dead were scattered across hastily dug, unmarked battlefield graves. The federal government began establishing national cemeteries, but these were strictly reserved for Union soldiers. The families of dead Confederate soldiers were left to find, exhume, and rebury their own dead entirely on their own. Because Confederate veterans were barred from federal burial honors, the burden of mourning fell to Southern women. They organized themselves into ladies' memorial associations across the South. The very first formal observations began in the spring of 1866. A woman named Mary Ann Williams of the Ladies' Memorial Association of Columbus, Georgia, wrote a letter to newspapers across the South calling for a day to clear weeds, plant flowers, and decorate the graves of the fallen. Different states chose different dates, usually tied to symbolic moments. Georgia, Alabama, and Mississippi chose April 26, the anniversary of Confederate General Joseph E. Johnston's surrender to Union General William T. Sherman. The Carolinas chose May 10th, marking the day Confederate General Stonewall Jackson died, as well as the capture of Confederate President Jefferson Davis. Jefferson Davis was respected and considered a gentleman even by his adversaries. Louisiana, where we're from, observed Confederate Memorial Day on June 3rd because it's the birthday of the President of the Confederate States of America, Jefferson Davis. In those early years, the ritual looked like the poem describes. For them no more shall reveille sound at the break of dawn, but may their sleep peaceful be till God's great judgment morn. It was a somber religious acknowledgement of grief and the devastation of war. Interestingly, these Southern mourning rituals directly influenced how the entire United States remembers its war dead. In 1868, General John A. Logan, leader of a Union veterans organization, established Decoration Day, which we now know as National Memorial Day. Logan's wife later noted that her husband was directly inspired by the sight of Southern women decorating graves in Virginia. While National Memorial Day eventually evolved to honor all American military personnel who died in service, several Southern states chose to keep their distinct Confederate Memorial Days as separate, state-recognized holidays. Today, Confederate Memorial Day remains an official or optional state holiday in a handful of states, including Alabama, Mississippi, and South Carolina. Louisiana officially stopped observing Confederate Memorial Day in June 2022. When I was growing up and for much of the 20th century, the South rejected the federal Memorial Day. Schools were open, businesses were open, people went about their business. It was just another day. I think now people consider it to be the beginning of summer. So there you have it, a little history into Confederate Memorial Day and our Southern roots. We love Montana, but in many ways, we're still Southern at heart. So which side of the Mason-Dixon line are you from? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more observations on life and retirement. I'm Marlene with Rebel Retirement. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Hey, you guys, please take a look around my channel. I have hundreds of videos on topics including Social Security, Medicare, how to get out of debt, pros and cons of moving, relationship issues, health topics, and more. And all of these videos are based on my experience and what I have learned in retirement. And I know that many people are worried about money in retirement, and this is exactly why Rebel Retiree and I created our just-in-time retirement series. And it's absolutely free, you guys, so it doesn't hurt to take a look at it. It's a mindset-based retirement planning strategy that eliminates waste and aligns your finances with your goals and values. With continuous improvement, you free up your resources to create an abundant retirement lifestyle. So I recommend viewing the playlist on this channel. And to get the full picture, visit our website, rebelretirement.com. And if you are nearing retirement and worried about your financial future, you're going to get a whole different viewpoint. See for yourself at rebelretirement.com.